All right, so this is the second video of 9-2. This one talks about 30, 60, 90 triangles. The one before talked about 45, 45, 90. So if you haven't watched that one yet, please do that one first. Otherwise, this one really won't make sense. All right, so we're going to break this down so you kind of understand where the formula comes from a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, so we're going to start here with an equilateral triangle. So 60, 60, 60, it also means all the sides are congruent. Okay, if all the sides are congruent, I'm just going to call each of them 2x. Okay, 2x, 2x, and 2x, and you'll see why here in a minute. I can call them whatever I want, as long as they're the same. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down the middle to make a right angle. Okay, so what that does is this 60 now becomes 30 and 30. Okay, now I'm just going to look at this triangle here. Okay, so it is a, sorry guys, 60 degrees, 30 degrees. So this is 2x, and when I slice it down the middle, this becomes x and x, so this is just x. Okay, now if I do Pythagorean theorem, we don't know what that is. I'm just going to say, I'm going to call it h. Okay, so I'm going to say x squared plus h squared equals 2x squared, right? Pythagorean theorem, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. And I can do that. So I want to solve for h in terms of x, okay? So basically what that means, I want to get h by itself. What does h equal? So let's just break it down. X squared equals h squared, or x squared plus h squared equals, remember when I square something in parentheses, I have to square each part. So 2 squared is 4x squared. So I have x squared plus h squared equals 4x squared. Okay, minus x squared on both sides. So I get h squared equals 3x squared. To undo a square, you want to square root it. So I get h equals square root of 3x squared, which is the square root of 3 times the square root of x squared. Well, the square root of anything squared, those cancel out. So this is just x square root of 3. Okay, so h then is really the same thing as x square root of 3. So now I have all three sides of this triangle in terms of x. Okay, so I could say opposite of 30 degrees. So opposite of 30 is x. Opposite of 60 degrees is, well, 60 degrees here, that'd be the x squared of 3. And then opposite of my 90 degrees, or my hypotenuse, 90 degrees, I'm going to put here hypotenuse, equals 2x. Okay, so if I have my x, I can plug it in and find my other sides. All right, so here's our 30, 60, 90 triangle theorem. And I do want you to note that this only works for 30, 60, 90 triangles. Okay, only 30, 60, 90. And I have the same thing. Opposite of 30 is x. Opposite of 60 is x squared of 3. Opposite of 90, which is also the hypotenuse, is 2x. All right, so let's practice. Let's look at example 3 here. Okay, so this first one over here, I do have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So just like I did with my 45, I'm going to label each side. So opposite of 30 is always x. Opposite of 60 is always x squared of 3. And opposite of 90 is always 2x. Okay, so I know that 14 has to equal 2x in order to solve for x. So 14 equals 2x. Divide by 2, I get 7 equals x. Okay, after I have my 7, that makes life a lot easier because now I can just plug it in. So if this side is x, I can substitute 7 in for x. If this side is x times square root of 3, I can substitute 7 in for x and get 7 square root of 3. Here are my 3 sides. Okay, over here we're going to do the same thing. First I'm going to just remove those because they confuse me sometimes. So opposite of 30 is going to be x. Opposite of 60 is going to be x square root of 3. Opposite of 90 is going to be 2x. Okay, so we know to solve for x, I have to say that 9 is equal to x square root of 3. Okay, so divide by square root of 3, divide by square root of 3, those go away. And I get that x equals 9 over square root of 3. Okay, well, got to simplify this, can't have a square root in the denominator. So multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3, I get 9 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 3 squared. Oops, it's a 2. Which is equal to 9 square root of 3 over 3. So my x equals, well guys, 9 over 3 is 3 over 1. So x is just 3 square root of 3. Okay. So after I know my x is 3 square root of 3, I can plug it in. So x over here, this side is just 3 square root of 3. Okay, this side is 2 times x, so this is 2 times 3 square root of 3, and we've done this in our radical bracket, or in our radical review, is we would just multiply what's on the outside together, 6. There's only 1 square root of 3. This side is 6 square root of 3. There are my 3 sides. All right, I want you to go ahead and try these 2 on your own. I'll help start you out. I didn't need to erase that. I'll help start you out. We're going to just get rid of all these and write all these in terms of x. So opposite of 30 is x. This has to be 30 if the other's 60 and 90. Opposite of 60 is x square root of 3. And then my hypotenuse, or opposite of 90, is always 2x. All right, so I'm going to let you go through, solve for x, and plug it in to get all 3 sides of both of these. All right, on this first one, x is pretty much given to you after you label the sides. So x is 2 square root of 3. So on the side opposite of 60, all we have to do is multiply that times square root of 3, and you simplify it to get 6. Same thing up here. All you do is multiply the opposite of 30, so our x, which is 2 square root of 3, times 2. So 2 times 2 square root of 3 simplifies to 4 square root of 3. Okay, this one's a little more complicated, but not really bad. So after we label each side, we know that in order to solve for x, we have to set 2x equals to 10. We get x is 5, so we plug it in. This side's 5, this side's 5 square root of 3. All right, this one's a little more difficult, so I want you to try it on your own, and then we'll go over it. All right, so you'd label each side x, x squared root of 3, and 2x. In order to solve for x, you'd set 9 equals to x squared root of 3, which I did over here, showed my work, and I got x equals 3 square root of 3. I'm guessing most of you will make your mistake here if you make a mistake. Okay, now if I plug in 3 square root of 3 in for every x, I get this side is 3 square root of 3. This side is 2 times that, which is 6 square root of 3. All right, so the next 4, the A, B, C, D, these are all review. So I want you to go through and do each of them on your own. There's 2 45, 45, 90s and 2 30, 60, 90s, and then we'll go over the answers. All right, here are your answers on A and B. Now these should have been fairly simple. And here are your answers on C and D. And once again, these shouldn't have given you too many problems. All right, let's do a couple word problems and then we'll be done. So in example 6, it says the road is shaped like an equilateral triangle. Okay, well, if it's equilateral, it's also equiangular. So 36, 36. This is 60, this is 60, this is 60. Okay, we want to find the area of the equilateral triangle. Okay, so the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height, whichever way you want to do it. And I know that 36 is the base, okay? And the height would be this length right here. Okay, so when I cut this, this is now 18 and 18, and this is 30, 60, 90 triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down below here. So this is 90, this is 60, this is 30. I know this is 18, and this is 36. Here's my height. Okay, now I'm on a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Opposite of 90 is 2x. Opposite of 30 is always x, and our h, or opposite of 60 is always x squared of 3. Okay, so my x is 18. So this side here is 18 square root of 3. Okay, so my height, 18 square root of 3. Okay, so when I say base times height divided by 2, that's 36 times 18 square root of 3 over 2. Well, I immediately notice 36 over 2 can break down into 18 over 1. So just 18 times 18 square root of 3. And if I put that into my calculator, 18 times 18 is 324 square root of 3, and that'd be inches squared. There's my final answer. All right, so example 7 says a tipping platform is a ramp used to unload trucks. How high is the end of an 80-foot ramp when the tipping angle is 30 degrees and 45 degrees? So we're going to play with this. If this is 80 feet, how high is this when this here is 30 degrees and then when it's 45 degrees? Okay, so I want you to go ahead and try it. Try to do both of these to figure out how high it has to go, and then we'll go over it. All right, so after you've worked it all out, you should have found that when you had a 30-degree angle, you rose or you went up 40 feet. Okay, but when you had a 45-degree angle, so when you had a steeper incline, you actually had to go up 40 square root of 2 feet, which is, when you put that in your calculator, that's about 56.5 feet.